Alright, so originally I was gonna make this video on Friday, but a bunch of stuff happened. Number one, I had diarrhea, which I feel like is the worst thing that I feel like any man or woman can endure when they're trying to have a fun time and enjoy their weekend. Another thing happened where I was tired and a little bit of fatigue. My little brother wanted to use the PlayStation to wait for the Fortnite servers to start working because of the new season. And well, even though it is the new season, the suspected day and date for to use the console, the servers were shut down and they told them that they have to wait for an extra 6 hours to use it, which at this point we're just seeing Fortnite's downfall already. I hit my elbow, which led me to having an inflamed nerve. I guess I hit it so hard I went limp for like a good 2 minutes, and then when I got back up I was limited to what I was able to use the arm. I couldn't stretch, I couldn't flex my arm to show my muscles, couldn't do anything, so I had to rely on my left arm to do anything else, like put on my clothes, brush my teeth, put on my shoes, take a shower and such. A bit TMI, but that's just what's been going on. So all that aside, I want to talk about something that I've been intrigued to talk about ever since Xbox ported this multiplayer game to the PlayStation with Phil Spencer's business update that he's been having in mind since, I'm assuming, of last year. So Sea of Thieves is a game that I have heard of. I think it was back in 2021 where it was at its peak, which I will talk about later on. And I'm not that much of a person that's very vocal into saying that I love pirate games. I know that there's such thing as Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, Assassin's Creed, Black Flag, Skull and Bones that was in development hell for probably 12 or 13 years, and it didn't really do so well. Let's just say that Skull and Bones was a cake that was supposed to be made properly with enough time and patience, but there was some ingredients that were left behind while making the cake that the cake looked uncooked and not fully finished or fully prepared to be served. No disrespect to Ubisoft, but I honestly thought that this game could have been a lot more than what it should have been or advertised as. They even got Michelle Rodriguez advertising the game, but when I saw the ad, the mic quality was so low and just so disconnected from her voice. Like, I was expecting her voice to be like in sync with the music and the vibe of the commercial, but the commercial was so cheap that it made me feel as to not spend my hard-earned money to play Skull and Bones. And then we have Sea of Thieves, an Xbox exclusive that was mainly on the Xbox consoles, or you could play it on Steam if you have a PC, that is now ported to the PlayStation 5 specifically as an exclusive, with the whole business update idea that Phil Spencer did talk about on the Xbox podcast and on the official Twitter account for Xbox, including his personal Twitter account as well. And I wanted to make a video about how this will change Sea of Thieves and what I want to learn more about this game. Now keep in mind, this is a pretty old screenshot. Don't mind with the 1:50 a.m. on the clock. I mean, to be fair, it was on the weekend, so I feel like it was okay to stay up. When I saw Sea of Thieves pre-order now, I honestly thought it was pretty cool that an Xbox game be ported to the PlayStation. It was something that I don't think any PlayStation user was expecting this to be on the 2024 bingo. Now I want to talk about the separate editions that are on Sea of Thieves. Now if you buy Sea of Thieves, it's originally $40, where you get the full game, closed beta access ahead of launch, and exclusive pre-order weapons and pet. For the deluxe edition, is the same as the standard edition, but you get the Ocean Crawler cosmetics, collectors, Thunderous Fury ship items, Shrouded Ghost Hunter blunderbuss, basically a weapon, and 10,000 gold, the currency that's in the game. The premium edition is basically the same thing as both the default and the deluxe edition, but you get a dark I can't read it, I'm sorry. To be fair, this is what I'm reading as I'm making this video. A dark Warsmith ship set costume, season 12 plunder pass, my bad. 5 days early access and a diabolical dog pet. Now I won't lie, when I saw the trailer for the Sea of Thieves PS5 pre-order, I was feeling a bit mischievous because this is a lot of stuff that the developers of Sea of Thieves, which are called Rare, the same people that made Banjo-Kazooie, or the same company that made Banjo-Kazooie, I should say, and Conker's Bad Fur Day, if I'm not mistaken, where this is a bunch of stuff that's being given to the PlayStation players when they first get their hands on to play Sea of Thieves. You can get the standard edition, the deluxe edition, or the premium edition, where you would either spend $40 or the typical $60 for a game that you've been waiting to play for God knows how long. And I feel like this was like their last chance to make Sea of Thieves relevant again, because in my mind, I thought that with Sea of Thieves being ported to the PlayStation, it was like a close call, because with Sea of Thieves being a Xbox exclusive mainly and also playable on Sea of Thieves, This is only on Xbox and not on PlayStation because, to be fair, with the amount of units that the PS5 sold from 2020 to 2024, a lot of people were interested to get into PS5 more than the Xbox Series S and X, even though there are some exclusives in the Xbox that the Xbox fans do enjoy. Not a lot of the Xbox community finds it intriguing to play. I mean, for PlayStation, you got Spider-Man, God of War, you got the whole Ratchet and Clank series, you got The Last of Us. My theory is that the PlayStation exclusives that they have are a lot better than Xbox. I usually don't get political. I mean, I honestly do think it's kind of political when it comes to console wars. But when it comes to exclusives, I feel like PlayStation has better exclusives than Xbox because the only exclusives that I feel jealous that I can't play are only like Halo, Ori, which I'm still hoping for it to be ported to the PlayStation, Forza, and I guess that's it. There's really no other exclusives that I want to play. I mean, Pentiment was a game that I didn't think would be ported. Hi-Fi Rush was another one that I thought was pretty cool that was ported to the PlayStation. Grounded, don't feel really, I don't know, motivated to play it because it's basically a game with a bunch of kids killing giant bugs. Like it's I don't know, like a prequel or like a spiritual successor to Jumanji or something. I don't know. Sea of Thieves, I guess it's cool, but I need to wait for that like hype and motivation to come to me naturally and not force myself to play a game. Because if you force yourself to play a game, what's the enjoyment of that? I mean, hot take, but still. So I went to the Steam charts to check on the active player base for Sea of Thieves, and as you can see, no pun intended, but it's a constant wave every single day depending on how active the fans of Sea of Thieves are with this game. I mean, if you look at it, it looks like a green sea. So as you can see on the specific chart with the last 30 days, the specific month and year with the average amount of players, the amount of players they gained or lost with the percentage, whether it's gained or lost as well, the peak amount of players including, and as you can see, there's a lot of red and not that much green, but when I scroll down, there's still a lot of reds as well. Not a bunch of green, but to be fair, in the year of 2020, that's where Sea of Thieves was peaking. So when I pressed all in May 31st of 2020, the amount of players that were using Sea of Thieves on Steam were 59,104. But in May of 2021, the peak amount of players playing Sea of Thieves was 62,889. And then now currently, as of March of 2024, so far, the average amount of players that are playing Sea of Thieves are 15,528. So then I searched up an article that's anything that's Sea of Thieves related, and I feel like this one best fits for this video where it says, should you play Sea of Thieves in 2023 even though today is the year of 2024? Sea of Thieves launched in 2018 with mixed reviews, and while it has shown potential, a lot of people were not impressed with the amount of content offered. Since then, development studio Rare put out massive content updates that helped the game achieve a massive comeback. In 2020, 2 years after the game's initial release, the player count rose sharply and the game has received a lot of praise over the years. Xbox Game Pass also played an important role in the game's success, allowing players to try out the game as part of the subscription service on Xbox or PC. If you have never played Sea of Thieves or abandoned the game after trying it at launch, here's what you need to know about the state of the game in 2023. How Sea of Thieves overcame troubled waters. After launching with mixed reviews from both critics and players, the game started receiving some very important updates that would change the course of the game's fate. The developers promised players that they would deliver quality updates that would meet expectations, and we did get what was promised. The Pixar-style graphics and environments were great to begin with, but there was not enough content. From story content in the form of telltales to more activities that players can be a part of, a lot was added over the years, and the game continues to receive major updates to this date. The game saw a surge in players in 2020, and it continues to command a sizable player base to this day. In 2023, we already received some welcome PvP changes as well as story content. There are live events and quality of life changes that are added to improve player experience. Sandbox style gameplay done right. The Sea of Thieves can go on missions or freely explore the world and experience hidden locations, combat other players, or clear public events. Everything rewards you with chests and other precious items that you can collect, and you can turn them in for in-game currency and reputation with various factions. Raising your faction levels and becoming pirate legend are just byproducts of what you can do. There's no gear progression as everyone has access to the same weaponry. Reward structure is purely cosmetic. You can play for 10 minutes or several hours and cash in your rewards at any time. The PvP in Sea of Thieves is instanced, and there is a limit to how many crews can be present at the same time in a lobby. You can communicate with other players to become allies, or you can combat them if you wish to and steal your loot. If your ship sinks, you die. But unlike many other games, you can just get on a new ship and chase down your attackers and fight them. In my personal experience, players are mostly cooperative. If you want to embrace the dark side and embrace your inner pirate, you can choose to do so. The multiplayer combat takes a bit of time to get used to, and it can be a lot of fun, but I understand that it's not for everyone. A cosmetic-only monetization system. The game is centered around its cosmetics. You can purchase a bunch of cosmetics just by playing the game and making in-game currency. But there's also the Pirate Emporium, a premium shop that houses some fancy cosmetics that you want. Purchasing these cosmetics require you to spend ancient coins, which are very hard to get in-game. The currency is sold directly for real money. You can run into ancient skeletons that drop a small number of ancient coins, but they are extremely rare, and in my personal experience, I ran into them only 3 or 4 times a month. The other source of ancient coins is the Plunder Pass. You can get 250 ancient coins even if you do not purchase the Plunder Pass, which is the Sea of Thieves iteration of the Season/Battle Pass seen in other games. Players who do not purchase ancient coins will still be able to purchase the Plunder Pass premium version eventually. You get all of your ancient coins back if you complete any of the Plunder Passes, similar to the progression system seen in Fortnite and Apex Legends. These passes offer cosmetics, and spending on the premium pass will net you cosmetics, quote unquote, worth $40 US from the Pirate Emporium. None of the premium cosmetics affect gameplay, and the monetization feels fair for a live service title. In my region, the game on sale is priced at around $6 during sales on Steam, so the added monetization through battle passes and cosmetics does not feel intrusive. Considering all of the content offered within seasons is free for all, you can safely ignore all microtransactions if you wish to without losing out on anything. But I would recommend picking a couple of pets up once you have enough ancient coins from gameplay, as they can make your experience in Sea of Thieves a little more enjoyable. Now this begs the question, should you play Sea of Thieves in its current state? Yes, but only if you have at least one other person to play with, meaning if you have a friend to play with, it's a lot more fun. While it might be an enjoyable experience for solo players too, Sea of Thieves can feel awfully tedious without friends, especially when it comes to managing your ship. It is a casual sandbox game that can be a lot of fun with friends, and there's plenty of content to easily make you sink around 80 to 100 hours. It is very easy to get into and worth checking out, especially if you have a Game Pass subscription, or you can pick it up on sale. So I guess this entire article probably convinced me to play Sea of Thieves. This is a game that can be addictive, and I probably most likely will get 100 hours in, whether I'm streaming this either on YouTube or Twitch, or I'm playing this by myself without recording any gameplay. I might as well record some gameplay of Sea of Thieves for my commentary videos. But I mean, I'm slightly convinced I might play Sea of Thieves. I also remembered that when Afro Sandra reacted to the Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer that was uploaded in 2018, this is in relation to Sea of Thieves, so bear with me. Right after the Kingdom Hearts trailer, there was DLCs for Sea of Thieves for 2018, and it was Cursed Sails for July of 2018 and Forsaken Shores for September of 2018. And I'm wondering if there's like some veteran fan of Sea of Thieves that was there when Sea of Thieves was pretty active, and if they had a fun time playing the DLC when it was out, when they saw the Xbox showcase for E3, before E3 shut down, of course. Small little thing I want to add, for Sea of Thieves wiki on wiki.gg, the latest update for Sea of Thieves was on February 19, 2024. Now on Wikipedia, it gives a more descriptive text about what Sea of Thieves is. It's more just a game about being a pirate. Sea of Thieves is a 2018 action-adventure game developed by Rare and published by Microsoft Studios. The player assumes the role of a pirate who completes voyages from different trading companies. The multiplayer game sees players explore an open world via a pirate ship from a first-person perspective. Groups of players encounter each other regularly during their adventures, sometimes forming alliances and sometimes going head-to-head. Sea of Thieves was conceived in 2014. Rare was inspired by players of PC games such as EVE Online in 2003, DayZ in 2018, and Rust and also in 2018, who used the game tools to create their own stories. Rare explored different settings such as vampires and dinosaurs before settling on a pirate theme inspired by the Pirates of the Caribbean films and The Goonies, the film that was published on 1985. The game features a progression system that only unlocks cosmetic items, as the development team wanted to encourage both casual and experienced players to play together. Rare departed from its reputation for secrecy during Sea of Thieves development, inviting fans to test early builds. Sea of Thieves was released in March 2018 for Windows and Xbox One. It was one of the earliest first-party games released for Xbox Game Pass subscribers. It received mixed reviews. Critics praised the ship combat, multiplayer visuals, and physics, but criticized the progression, gameplay, and lack of content. Rare envisioned Sea of Thieves as a quote-unquote game as a service and has released numerous numerous content updates after initial release, which improved its reception. Sea of Thieves was a commercial success and became Microsoft's most successful original intellectual property of the 8th generation, attracting more than 30 million players by June 2022. It is said to be released for the PlayStation 5 in April 2024, making it Rare's first game to release on a PlayStation console. Now we're going to be talking about the reception of Sea of Thieves, where on Metacritic it says on PC is a 67 out of 100, but for Xbox One is a 69, nice, out of 100. Review scores: Destructoid give it a 6.5 out of 10, Eurogamer says recommended, Game Informer a 7 out of 10, Game Revolution a 2.5 out of 5 stars, GameSpot 6 out of 10, Games Radar Plus a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Again, this is pretty specific. IGN gave it an 8 out of 10 in 2020. PC Gamer on the US gave it a 72 out of 100, and Polygon gave it a 6.5 out of 10. Now it says Sea of Thieves received mixed or average reviews from critics according to review aggregator Metacritic. Most critics agreed that the game had potential to be successful, but laminated that the game suffered from a lack of content and questioned Rare's decision to release it as a full-price product. The game's graphics and the game's physics also received praise. The multiplayer portion of the game was well received. Jordan DeVore from Destructoid noted that with a full crew, the game could get chaotic and situations could turn volatile very quickly. He added that cooperation with strangers could create unforgettable experiences for players, which could be deeply satisfying. Peter Brown from GameSpot also enjoyed coordinating with other players and goofing around, though he remarked that some players were trolling others, which caused the experience to be frustrating. Jeff Grubb from VentureBeat also enjoyed the game, saying that playing with strangers often created numerous and hilarious moments. Kyle Hilliard from Game Informer stated that each session results in a story due to the emergent gameplay, and praised Rare for successfully creating an excellent quote-unquote pirate simulator and quote-unquote manufacturing a digital playground that is fun to explore. Sam Leverage from Games Radar likewise commented that the game is quote-unquote an anecdote generator at its very best due to its emergent storytelling. Brandon Tyrell from IGN stated that Sea of Thieves works well when treated like a chat room or a party game, where it serves as catalyst for having a good time with the people you're with. The gameplay received generally negative reviews. Devourer felt that the quests were repetitive and that the world did not have a lot of interesting things to do. Paul Tamburo from Game Revolution agreed, remarking that the quest had little variety and did not allow room for creativity. While he praised the sandbox format, he felt that there was not enough secrets or stories players could discover in the world. Loveridge called the voyages quote-unquote elaborated fetch quests. He laminated that there was no option to turn off PvP and players could not customize their own characters. Russ Frushtick from Polygon remarked that misbehaving players may make the experience frustrating because PvP could never be disabled. However, he remarked that the game offered no incentive for players who wanted to engage in PvP combat. Miller felt that the game did not have enough content to keep players engaged and remarked that the combat felt bland. Many critics commented that players would not be motivated to complete quests because only cosmetic items are unlocked. Tyrell praised the ship combat, though he felt that the respawn system was too forgiving. Christian Donlin from Eurogamer likewise called the ship combat quote-unquote thrilling and the general combat crunchy and pleasantly basic. Tyler Wilde from PC Gamer liked exploring the shipwrecks, believing that exploring evokes a sense of discovery, though he commented that he wished more emergent events that would happen in the ocean. Solo play received mixed opinions. Some critics thought that it was more difficult, boring, and maddening. I'm not gonna say it. While some remarked it was entertaining, satisfying, and relaxing. After a year of updates, the game received more positive reviews from critics. Following the anniversary update, IGN stated that players should give the game a second chance. Perfect time to return to the game. One of its writers, David Jagnaw, I cannot say that name correctly, praised the Telltales and its riddles in his second review, which he described as brain teasers that really challenge players' detective skills. In his summary, he wrote that the game is a quote-unquote pirate fantasy sandbox with an enormous amount of things to do, made unpredictable and exciting by the addition of other players. Nicole Carpenter from Polygon praised the post-launch updates from making the title more curated with more structure and direction. The game also received PC Gamer's Best Ongoing Game 2019 award and was listed by Game Industry Biz as one of their games of the year in 2019. Sea of Thieves was a commercial success, attracting more than 1 million players to 2 days after its release. During its week of release, it was the best-selling retail game in the UK, 6th best-selling in Switzerland, and it became the 2nd best-selling game in the US in March 2018 behind Far Cry 5. Wow. On 28 March 2018, Microsoft declared the game as the fastest-selling new IP released for the Xbox One. Rare attributed the game's success to the title released for Xbox Game subscribers at launch, which enabled the game to achieve Rare's sales target for 3 months in a single day. Game Pass contributed to half of the game's sales, though Microsoft added that the game also sold well in both retail and digital formats. Game passed 5 million players in August 2018. In January 2020, Rare declared the game was quote-unquote the most successful IP Microsoft, in parentheses, I can't even say that word right, released in the generation, with it amassing more than 10 million players. In addition to good sales, Sea of Thieves was also popular with viewers, with the title being ranked as one of the most watched titles on Twitch in January 2019 following the Shroud Spoils update. The game will launch on Steam on 3rd of June 2020. By July 2020, Sea of Thieves will top 15 million players, including 1 million units sold on Steam and over 3.3 million players logging in during June 2020. The total number of players will continue to rise, reaching 20 million players by March 2021. During the month of June 2021, following the release of the Pirates of the Caribbean crossover, I remember that, a Pirates Live content update, 4.8 million players logged in, setting a new record. In October 2021, Sea of Thieves had reached 25 million players. On Steam, 5 million units have been sold as of December 2021. During the 2022 Xbox/Bethesda Games Showcase, a trailer for Sea of Thieves Season 7, the game had reached over 30 million players. Now we're gonna go with the awards really quickly, where in Gamescom of 2016, they won for Best Xbox One Game and they won for Best Multiplayer Game. In 2018, in the Independent Game Developers Association Awards, they won for Best Visual Design. In 2019, in the Ivor Novello Awards, it won for Best Original Video Game Score. And recently, in 2021, for the 17th British Academy Game Awards, it won for Evolving Game. Now, the amount of players that they have for Sea of Thieves, and they also do have a Discord with over 300,000 members and currently close to 140,000 online as of me recording this video. Turns out that a lot of the fans of Sea of Thieves really do enjoy this game, with over 25 million, which is a big number. Even though some have left and some have gone, there's still some people that find enjoyment of this game. This is also something I do want to talk about, that when Sea of Thieves was ported to the PlayStation with the decision of Phil Spencer being the head of Xbox, turns out there was a lot of demand for Sea of Thieves going to PS5 or just going to PlayStation, which I didn't know that until now. Another thing to be informed of is that the Sea of Thieves 2024 preview event will take place on March 20th, 2024. As revealed in Sea of Thieves news, our 6th anniversary will deliver a sneak peek at some of the content inbound in seasons 12, 13, and 14. Cheers. More details coming as soon as we have them, obviously. And of course, you got the promotion of Sea of Thieves that is going to PlayStation 5. Alright, so with this audio portion of the video, including the previous one where I talked about how Sea of Thieves was ported to the PlayStation, I have been making this video for the past 2 days. I did this back in March 10. It is now March 12. So what I did for the sake of this video was, when I went to the Sea of Thieves community Discord, which I did say it has over 300,000 members, I went to one of the channels on the Discord where I asked, currently making a video about how Xbox probably saves Sea of Thieves from shutting down, and I asked their opinions on which title should the video be called. Xbox probably saves Sea of Thieves reputation, or how Sea of Thieves PlayStation port was a close call. One of them, where he said neither of those titles were fitting, and suggests that if you wanted to talk to me to give a little insight about it. And keep in mind, this is the second community that's in relation to Xbox. I mean, Ori aside, okay, you guys have heard me, I was very open about my interactions with me with the Ori community, because Ori is a game that's from the Xbox, and I'm still currently waiting for the PlayStation port. So the person that said that these titles aren't really fitting for the video that I'm currently making, he did tell me that the community of Sea of Thieves are very defensive with the game, and I was interested into knowing more about what's it like being a fan of Sea of Thieves, and I managed to interview this person, which I will censor his name and his profile for the sake of his privacy and out of his request. So here was the interview. It wasn't recorded or anything. He just wanted to do as a whole text interview. This interview lasted for like a good hour, but it was good for the info that I've gotten of what it was like being a fan of Sea of Thieves. Alright, so let's begin. You told me that the Sea of Thieves fan base is pretty defensive when it comes to the game. From what I've gathered from the Steam player stats as of June 2020, the player count went from 59,000 to 62,000 in May 2021, and then dropped to 15,000 as of right now. He responds saying, yeah, it typically spikes at the release of seasons, a good measure of total active players, and then shifts down to 15,000 at any given moment for currently online players. And I said, yeah, even though the game was out in 2018, the game has a bunch of mixed reviews but still kept afloat, no pun intended. But it's not mixed reviews. Currently on Steam is sitting at very positive and is sitting at an 8 out of 10 for artist reviews on both GameSpot and IGN, the two more popular sites for game reviews. Alright, cool. It's just that I read an article talking from MMORPG.com about when the game first released to now is what I'm saying. Yeah, it used to be pretty mixed on launch, I suppose. Dono wasn't around back then, joined around 2020. It talked about should you play Sea of Thieves in 2023? What are your thoughts on it? Oh, I effing adore it, but to further categorize the game itself, pretty brilliant and feeds hard into specific niche. Often focusing on artistic intent over cooperatively appealing to as many as people as possible. It's like a game like Dark Souls. It fully acknowledges that it isn't for everyone and that some people are going to hate it. But for the people who like what it strives to be, it's honestly like crack. The game itself is inundated, I guess that's what it means, with a fair few bugs, and I think the devs should hire on a team specifically to take care of all the technical debt they've accumulated. But if you can look past those bugs and are the type of person Sea of Thieves wants to appeal to, there's little to nothing better. The community, a fairly mixed bag. Honestly, I stick to fan-made spaces as opposed to rare-run spaces. The Rare community team are kinda assholes in my opinion. I've had multiple negative experiences with Rare community managers or space admins, like Discord admins, but the actual community of players have thus far proven to be lovely folks. It's like I'm most active on the Reddit Discord instead of anywhere else. Overall, should you play Sea of Thieves in 2024? It depends. Are you a player who likes working tactically with a group of friends and strangers? Do you like interacting with random folks in an intentionally unmoderated space? Not entirely unmoderated, there are of course still rules, but things like theft are allowed. Overall, the seas are anarchic in comparison to other online games, and that strives off of player-to-player interactions in that space. Then yes, Sea of Thieves isn't just a game you'll like, I'd say it easily fits into most of those people's top games of all time. Like I said, been busy all day, but typing when I can. Apologies for any typos, especially sound-alike typos. I'm dyslexic, lol. I told them that I'm gonna read it and come back to it, so then I said, so what I've gathered so far is it's as addictive like crack, lol. Feels like Dark Souls, and even though there's a few bugs in the game, it's still fun to play with. I say addictive is a pretty strong word for it, but overall, yeah, it's a go-to game. It doesn't feel like Dark Souls at all though, probably miswording on my part. It's similar to Dark Souls in that it embraces the fact that it isn't for everyone. It's not a game designed for mass appeal, but rather for pinpointing a specific niche and appealing to them as heavenly as possible. Still super fun to play alongside the bugs, yeah. Where Dark Souls appeals to a hardcore crowd that wants to be at odds with the developers, Sea of Thieves appeals specifically to a highly social type of person, especially a highly social person who can look past negative interaction and actively seek out good ones. Alright, cool. You also said that the Red community are kinda assholes because of your experience with the admins. I want to say the Red community as a whole, mostly just their regularly appointed community administrators. Like the developer themselves has been lovely in my albeit incredibly few interactions with them. The QA team itself is lovely, etc. Just the CMs. Okay, gotcha. I don't know what CMs mean though. Community managers, a regularly appointed role for basically internet janitors. People like the forum admins on the Sea of Thieves forums or the Discord admins on the Discord servers. Lots of the time, if someone is a Discord admin, they are also a forum admin, so the community manager is a better term to encapsulate that they're all over. Okay. As in like they're somewhat abusing their role as a community manager. Mostly they've been incredibly abrasive individuals in my experience, if that makes sense. I wouldn't say that there's any abuse going on, they're just unpleasant. As in like not doing professionally. Yeah, they're not professional at all. As far as I know from Sea of Thieves, it won 2 awards in 2016 for Best Xbox One Game and for Best Multiplayer Game. It won an award for Visual Design in 2018. In 2019, it won an award for Best Original Video Game Score. And in 2021, it won an award for Evolving Game. What are your thoughts on it? The awards it's won? Yep, on Wikipedia. I say they're all valid, except maybe that 2016 award. Sea of Thieves was by all accounts rough as hell in 2016. But other than that, visual design, score, and evolution wise, that's spot on, and it deserves the awards. Alright, cool. What are your thoughts that you now know that there was a lot of demand for Sea of Thieves to go to PlayStation? I'll admit it, I was in the it'll never happen crowd. Sea of Thieves being owned by Microsoft and on Game Pass made it unlikely from the get-go. But with the recent business changes at Microsoft, I'm glad that PlayStation exclusive players could get their hands on it. Do you think that for this business update, the Sea of Thieves community could expand? I think it absolutely will expand. Overall exclusive markets aren't what they were back in like 2012, especially with both Microsoft and Sony putting their prior to console exclusives on Steam. Most players own computers, but for that niche that's truly die-hard PlayStation, only will probably hit, I don't know, a 5K player bump in the daily concurrent count. That's a rough as hell estimate, a bump and a noticeable one, but not too massive. Alright, I want to get back to the question because I was a bit too fast with the questions for the interview, my apologies. When you said that the community is very protective of the game, is it naturally how the fan base acts or because of how they adore this game for what it is? I say it's fair. For some reason, Sea of Thieves is just really attractive for people who won't take it as what it is, constantly vouching for it to be changed in ways that would fracture or outright remove its core appeal for the sake of becoming a mass appeal, more corporate sort of game. Because without those mass appeal elements, it doesn't appeal to them. It's a large niche in the gaming ecosystem, but still a niche, which has left a chip on the shoulder of the community at large. Have you had your fair share of the interactions you had with the community? Oh, I love interacting with the community. I've been active in it since 2021 or so, off and on, but it's always fun to see what's currently going on. I don't think I'll ever hit my fair share. Alright, cool. I have like a few more questions before I wrap this up, okay? Of course, when I went to the channel that you were in and I asked what's a good time for my video, you disagreed and suggested to talk to you for a little bit of what it's like being a fan of the game. So from what we've discussed, what do you think, I should have said what do you think, is a good title for the video I'm currently working on? Well, what's the core message of the video so far? What topic specifically would you cover? My idea of the video was going to be talking about how Xbox probably saved Sea of Thieves' reputation with the PlayStation port, or how the Sea of Thieves PlayStation port was a close call, but you told me that instead of those titles, maybe try how PlayStation will change Sea of Thieves. That could be a good one. It's still snappy and still focuses on PlayStation's addition to the Sea of Thieves ecosystem, but it wouldn't be so dramatic, which I feel was the main issue people would have with a title focusing on PlayStation saving Sea of Thieves. Alright, so here's what I got for the video. I got screenshots of the Sea of Thieves wiki, the awards they won, the article talking about should you play Sea of Thieves in 2023, the demands of Sea of Thieves going to PlayStation, and this interview, if you're okay with me adding this, but I don't have the screenshots yet of this interview because this is all currently happening. But if you're okay with not adding the screenshots of the interview, I'll just discuss it word for word on the video instead of the screenshots. I'd ask you to remove my name from the interview, like just blur it out and replace it with placeholder alongside the profile picture, but other than that, sure, okay. How do you feel about this interview? It was pretty nice and you seem like a sweet guy. Thanks, man. Another thing, did you feel a little uncomfortable with this interview? Not really. Why should I have? Just asking. Do you think I did a professional job with this interview even though it's my first time doing so? Overly? Yeah, it was a good interview, bro. Thanks, man. One more thing. Do you think that there's going to be more Xbox exclusives games going multi-platform this year, and how do you feel about it? I mean, didn't Microsoft all but confirm that this was a trial run and more were likely on their way? I'm excited for it personally. Video games are an art form and arbitrary hardware restrictions hold them back. Okay, cool. I think that's all I got for today. Thanks for chatting with me. And just so you know, you're okay with me either talking about / or adding screenshots about this interview, and you give me your consent to do it for the video, right? Yes, of course. So long as my username is properly censored for my privacy, I will censor your name and profile. Alright, thanks for everything. See ya. Alright, so after doing my research about the Wikipedia, the awards it's gotten, the criticism that it's also gotten, should you play Sea of Thieves in 2023, or I should say 2024, and interviewing one of the fans of Sea of Thieves, it has been one hell of a Sherlock Holmes investigation per se, because of how long or the depths that I took into making this video. It took 2 days for me to make this. I know it's going to take a while for me to edit the last portions and finally upload. It's going to take like, I don't know, maybe an hour or so to upload it. And I honestly think that for Sea of Thieves being ported to the PlayStation is pretty cool, and that the people that have been having a lot of demand for Sea of Thieves going to PlayStation will finally experience it with the PlayStation 5, specifically, exclusively, I should say. And I guess know what it's like playing a game that was an Xbox exclusive, but now ported to the PlayStation with the whole business update that Phil Spencer's been talking on. Well, including with the team of Microsoft that's made Xbox as well. Now, of course, in a month, Sea of Thieves is going to be ported to the PlayStation on April 30th. It is currently March 12th as of me recording this video and audio for the video. I'm most likely going to play it. I feel like I'm convinced that maybe spending $40 might be worth it, and I might make some friends playing the game and probably some funny moments, and maybe some things that I missed out on while this was an Xbox exclusive. And yes, I'm still currently waiting for Ori to be ported to the PlayStation. I mean, I already made over 20 videos about it. I'm still confident that this year is going to be the year where it's going to be ported. Patience is a thing that I lack a lot of, so I'm still maintaining that hype, and hopefully I'll play the game with the amount of memories I could have made while this was an Xbox exclusive, then later ported to the Nintendo Switch and on Steam. With all that being said, let me know what you guys think of the video. I spent a lot of time making this, and hopefully it will live up to your expectations. I'm worried that it's going to flop, but hopefully it won't once it's going to be uploaded. If you guys are also interested in Sea of Thieves, let me know on the comment section and what you expect with it. I mean, it is an Xbox game, so I feel like playing an Xbox game on PlayStation is going to feel a little odd, but I guess a little welcoming and rewarding of if you're one of those people that have been waiting for Sea of Thieves to be ported to the PlayStation, which you now will play, but you have to wait till April 30th for the game to be released. So that's all I want to say for this video. If you guys did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, comment down what you think about the video, and I can finally say this is Wolf Gray, and I'll see you all later. See ya.